Hello everyone, in this video we're going to start working with creating a chatbot using Next.js and OpenAI. So this is the chatbot we're going to create. This is the UI. This is what we're going to be working in the first video. Let's get started. Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to create a chatbot using Next.js and OpenAI. So our application is pretty simple. The way we're going to start, we're going to have a Next.js application, which is going to have a chatbot, which is going to talk to the OpenAI Chat Completion API, and we're going to generate a chatbot for our users. In order to get started, we're going to create a Next.js project, so we can go to the Next.js documentation and we can get started. In a terminal, make sure you cd to the folder where you want to create your new project. You need to have Next.js 18 or later. Then we're going to run this command here, Next.js create next-app at latest. So we're just going to paste that in our terminal. And there's a few extra characters here, and I'm gonna hit enter in the terminal. Now this is going to ask me a few questions on how I want to set up my project. So we need a project name. I'm gonna give it the name chatbot -OpenAI. It's gonna ask if we want to use TypeScript. I'm gonna say yes. ESLint, yes. Would you like Tailwinds? Yes. SRC directory, I'm going to say no. This is up to you. App router, I'm going to say yes. And if I want to update the default imports, I'm going to say no. And this is going to generate my project. So we're going to wait for this to finish up, and then we're going to continue. All right, so my project is ready. So I'm going to cd into my new project, so chatbot OpenAI, and I'm going to open this with VS Code. I can type code space dot to open it up with VS Code. If this doesn't work for you, just open a new VS Code window and open your project in there. Let me drag over the project from the other monitor. Here we go. And then we're going to open this up in here. So let me just set it next to this here. Here we go. So let's open a terminal inside of VS Code so we can install everything we need for now, and then we're going to run the server. So in here, let's install let's do npmi react-icons. You can use any icons library that you like. I'm just going to use React icons. And now I'm going to run npm run dev to run the development server. Let me open up a new tab and navigate to localhost 3000. The application is compiling. It should come up in a second. There we go. So if you need to look at the docs for Next.js, you got all the links in here. Also is what we were looking in this website here, right, on how to get started. And if you need to review any other stuff in there, we're going to be using Tailwinds to style the application. So you can also go to TailwindCSS.com/docs to access the documentation if you need to look at any of the classes we're going to be adding to the project, like Flexbox and everything else that we're going to be using. Cool. So in the app, let's go and open the app folder and go to the main page here. I can hide the terminal for now. Don't need to see that right now. And then we're going to delete, let's clean this up. Let's delete everything inside of the main tag. So I'm gonna grab the div, scroll all the way down, and delete this div here. And I'm just gonna leave the main tag here. We have a flex class, min height screen, flex call, justify center. Let's just do let's remove the justify between here. Let's save it, and let's just have a h1 that will say chatbot with OpenAI, so we can have some text in here. And that's everything we're gonna do on the main page. We're gonna display our bot. We're gonna display a fix icon here, which is what we're gonna click on if the user wants to interact with the chatbot. So this is everything we need to do here. We can remove the image import here. We don't need that there. And now the next step will be to create the chatbot component. So let's go into the main tab level here and create a new folder. Components. Inside of components, let's create a new folder called chatbot. And inside of the chatbot, right click a new file. Let's just call it chatbot.csx. Let's have our export default function chatbot. Let's return a div right away. There we go. And actually, let's just return a fragment. We don't need a div here. So what we're gonna have, we're gonna start by importing an icon for displaying the icon on the app. So let's import from React icons. Oops. And the library is TB. And from that icons library, we're going to import the TB message chatbot. Whoops, I gotta slow down. All right, so now let's display this icon in here. Save the file, and now we don't see anything here. Let's go and render. Is this being displayed? My app is running kind of slow, but it's okay. Now it's working. Let's render the chatbot on the main page. So let's go into the main page, and down here we can just call the chatbot component. And we should be seeing this in here. There we go. It's super little. It's down here. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Let's set the size property to, let's do 48 and see how it looks. Okay, that's not bad. Or maybe 48, or let me see, 64. It's kind of big. You can play around with the values. Let's just keep it at 64 for now. And let's go and add some Tailwind classes. So let's do a class and name here. And we're going to make this a fix element, right? We're gonna do 24. Bottom, we're going to calculate the bottom by using the calculate CSS function of 1 rem. And let's do on hover, let's add a cursor of pointer. There we go. Okay, not so bad. Let's see if it looks better when it's a little bit bigger. Okay, the right 24 could be a little less. That's better. So play around with the values. For now, this is everything we need. So right now we can display it. Right now, if we click on it, nothing happens, but that's fine for now. So the next thing we want to do will be to start creating the div that is going to be displayed when the user clicks on this and display opens and like shows the shot in the chat. We should do that. We should do that now. So let's actually do a quick state for this. So let's import use state from React, and then here we're gonna do a quick show chat or set show chat and set that to use state and initialize it to, let's say, true right now, just so we can see it. Okay. Import use state from React. Save. Okay. All right, let's see why this is. Let me see console chat. This looks fine. Let me refresh this. Let me check. And yeah, I forgot to mark this component since we're gonna be using state. This needs to be a client component. So by default in Next.js, every component is going to be by default a server component. So we need to tell Next.js that this is going to be a client component by adding the directive use client all the way at the top. And that should allow us to use the use effect hook. All right, that's better. Cool. So let's continue. We have a piece of state here. And then we want to, after the icon here, we want to conditionally render the chat. So we're going to check if show chat is true. Then we're going to be displaying something here. So let's add a div here. And then we're going to have, let's add another div inside so we can separate these two. So in the inside, so kind of like the container of everything else we're going to have in here, let's add a quick header. So let's say this is going to be the chat header. And then let's do a div here that is going to contain an h2 that is going to say chatbot. And then we're going to also have a p tag here that is going to say something like power. Yeah, we can say power by OpenAI, something like this. And right now it's being displayed here, but we're going to add some style so we can display this right on top of this here. So let's add some classes so it can look more like in the chatbot. So on the div here, the main div here, we're going to add in the class name, and here is going to be fix. All right. How much we added to the tab? Let's do the same 12 to see how it looks. Bottom, let's do calc, and let's do 4 rm plus 1.5 rem. And you can play around with the values. That was the value that it looked good for me. Let's do the cursor to a pointer. And let's do what else we got? Pointer. Let's do a padding of 5. Let's see how it's looking. There we go. Padding of 5. Let's do some shadow medium. Let's do shadow dash white. And let's do also let's do a height of 474 pixels. And let's do a width of 500 pixels. See how it looks. Cool. All right, so that's good for now. That's big enough for us to see it right now. Then we can make it responsive and all of that. Cool. So now let's go to the next div, which is holding everything inside. And this one is going to have just class name. And let's just do flex call height dash full, so it can take all the space available there. All right, so let's see what else we got to do here. Let's add to the H2. We can style it a little bit. Let's do font dash semi-bold, text large or LG, tracking tight, and that's it. That looks good. Right now, I don't know if I'm gonna keep the paragraph, so let's just leave it like that. So that's fine for now. So down here, we're gonna have like the chat container in here. So let's set a div in here. And here we're gonna put our messages. So let's just do a div that's gonna say, just a placeholder that's gonna say messages. But here's where we're gonna display the messages inside of this div. And for that div, let's add the class name or the classes just to get rid of this right away. So flex call, flex dash 1, items center, p dash 2, margin tab dash 5, and overflow wide auto. Cool, let's keep it there for now. All right, so right now, this is true. If we click on it, nothing happens. So let's fix that real quick because we have the set show chatting here, and we can just pass it down to an unclick to the icon here. So we can just go in here. Let's put the size in the next line, and this one, let's say unclick. We want to pass a arrow function, and we're gonna call set show chat, and we're gonna set it to the opposite of show chat in here. Let's keep it at that. And right now, let's put it to false as the initial value. So it's false. When we click on it, we can see it open and close. Okay, that's okay for now. Cool. All right, so we are conditionally rendering the chat in here. So after the container, we're gonna have a input here, but I want to have a separate component for this one, so we don't make this too big, and we can actually understand everything that's happening here without making a huge component. So message input is gonna go here, and this one's gonna be a separate component. that we're going to create inside of the chatbot, we can actually create a folder inside of chatbot and just call it UI. And why is it all caps? Because I have to turn off all caps, rename it to just UI. And in here, let's just create this. So this components that are going to go here, they're part of the chatbot. So let's right click, create a new file. We're going to create the bot message. So bot-message.tsx. We're also going to need a new file of user.message.tsx. And right click new file. We're going to need a user, or not user, let's call it chat-input.tsx. So we're just breaking down the chatbot component into smaller components here so we can understand this a little bit better. So the first message that we're going to see when the user opens up the chatbot is going to be the message from the chatbot. So let's work on the bot message first. So let's do a export default function bot message. And the bot message and the user is going to look very similar, but let's create two separate components so we can have different icons. But you can make kind of like a reusable component if you want, but I don't think we need to do that in here. So let's just do two quick ones. And in here, inside of the return, let's return a div. Inside of the div, we're going to have another div, which is going to be wrapping, come on. We're going to be wrapping a icon for the bot icon on the chat. So let's import from React icons from the RI library. Let's import the RI robot 3 line, and then we're going to render that one inside of this div. And let's set the size right away. So size, give it a good 18 in here. And right now we don't see it, so let's import this bot message back to the chatbot. So back in here. So we're going to, let's just display it in here. So let's do a bot message in there. And make sure that it was imported at the top for you. Bot message right there. We can see it at the bottom. The little bot. And let's see what else we're gonna do inside of the bot message here. So in here, after this div, let's just have another div in here, and let's have a div that will have the word bot, and then in the message we can put it in a p tag here. Let's say hello, how can I help you for now? We'll decide on something else later. Cool, so we can see it in here. Now let's add some classes to this div here. Let's do a class name here. Let's do flex with full and margin y-2. And then to the next div here, class name. Let's do flex, whoops. Let's do justify center, padding 1 with 8, and let's do height 8, and let's do border and let's do bg slate 100, and then we're gonna make it round, so rounded full. And let's add just a margin. We can do margin right in here, like margin right dash 2. Cool. All right, that's fine. Cool. That looks okay. Now, what else we got to do? So right now, this is everything we need for the UI. Right now, we don't have any state, any props. That's fine. This is everything we need. So our user message is going to look very similar. So I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to bring it over to user message. I put a dot here. So let me rename this to user dash message. And I'm going to paste this in here. Let's change what we need to change in here. Instead of bot, we're going to say user. Instead of how can I help you, let's just say I need help with my computer. If it's a IT chatbot or chatbot that can help you with your computer issues, resetting your passwords, or any IT tasks that are required. So what else we need to change? Let's change the icon. Let's change the name here. Instead of bot message, user message. We need to change the icon. So the icon, instead of RI in here, let's just bring it in from CI, and we're going to bring in CI user, and we're going to render CI user here. Cool. So let's render this one back into the chatbot as well. So let's put it right under the bot message. We're going to have user message and make sure that it was imported at the top as well in here. And now we have a bot saying, hello, how can I help you? And the user is responding, I need help with my computer. And right now that is looking good. Cool. Now, the only thing we're missing here will be we can actually delete this. Oh, wait. This here, I put this in the wrong place. So these two, they need to be rendered inside of here. So let's put it in here and then save it. There we go. I think that was Siri listening to my conversation. Cancel that. All right, sorry about that. All right, so we got the message in the right place inside of the chat container. And then in here, what we need is the input. So inside of the input component that we have, chat input, is what we need to go ahead and do next. So let's go in here. Let's say export default function chat input, return. Let's return a div. Let's return a form, not a from, but a form. And inside of the form, let's just have a input type text. I'm missing quote, and then we're gonna have a button that is going to be the text sent in there. So let's render this and back into the chatbot in here in the message input section here. So chat input, and make sure it was imported at the top for you as well. So here we go. Now we can go back to the chat input here and add the classes that we need. Let's start with the div at the top. Class name, let's add flex space x dash 2 maybe. Space flex, that was a flex. Let's do item center. Items center. And let's do margin top dash auto. Let me make sure this is being applied. Come on, come on. Let me click on this. Okay, chat input. Class name flex space x2 items. Okay, so this is the div around it. So that's why we don't see anything much in here. So let's add a class name to the form. Let's do flex here. And let's do items center here. And justify center here. Let's do width dash full. Let's do space x2. And then that's it for the spacing for now. On the input, we can have a placeholder that would say type your message here or something like that. Cool. Now let's add a class name and let's style this so flex height of 10, width dash full, rounded. Let's do rounded MD. Add border, and let's add a border color of hex E5E 7E EB. All right, so border, little grayish color there, and then let's do padding x dash 3 text SM or small, and let's do text dash black so we can see the text. Cool. So now if we type in here, and this is spaced out, we can type text, we can see it. Cool. Now all we're missing is the button here. So on the button, let's add the class name. Let's do a padding of 2, bg-white. Let's do text dash black. Let's do inline flex. Let's do items center, justify center. Let's do rounded MD as well, and let's do text small, font dash medium. What else we need? Padding x dash 4. All right, nicer. And padding y dash 2. All right, sorry about the noise. Okay, I think that's fine. Right now we don't have any hover effect, but that's fine. We can do a little bit more on the focus state. But right now, if we format this looks pretty nice. Let's go back to the chatbot here. Let's add a little bit of border to this one. So let's just do border in here. All right, that's a nicer touch. We can make it rounded to whatever you want, and a little box shadow in there. All right, so that's it. So right now we have our chatbot UI created. We have the chatbot folder, which has the UI elements that are needed in order to render the chatbot. So in our next video, we're going to start working with the state on the form, and we're going to connect to the OpenAI Chat Completion API to make this chatbot work. So that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next video.